You know what nobody tells you about building a life you actually like? We all think it's about the big dramatic changes, but no, sir. It's all about the small decisions you make when no one's watching, and when your brain is busy telling you that something else is more important. Like today, my friend asked if I wanted to come to Bristol to hang out, and my first instinct was to say no. I had work to do. I had content to film, I had content to edit, I had coursework to get done. I had 100 reasons to stay home and be productive. But here's what I'm learning. Productivity isn't just about output. It's about input too. It's about filling up your cup so you actually have something to pour out. And I think we've gotten so lost in the output that we have massively slacked on the quality of our input. We've become so obsessed with optimization, with squeezing every drop of potential out of ourselves, that we've stopped asking the most important question. Am I even enjoying this? Because what's the point of building something if you're miserable the entire time? One of my goals for 2026 is to be more magnetic. And yes, I mean that in the weird manifesting vision board kind of way. I also mean when you're genuinely enjoying your life, when you're present and joyful and not constantly burnt out. It is possible for us to feel that way. Crazy. I know. People feel that change in you. Opportunities feel that. The universe feels that change. Everything shifts. But you can't be magnetic when you're running on empty. So, I'm done with the hustle bro discipline that tells me to push through everything no matter what. I'm trading that for devotion. Devotion to the work, yes, but also devotion to myself. To building something sustainable instead of just chasing the next peak before the inevitable burnout because I've been working 50-hour weeks and forgetting to take care of myself. I used to think discipline meant forcing myself to do things I didn't want to do. And sure, sometimes that is part of it. But the deeper I get into this whole self-leadership thing, the more I realise it's actually about trusting yourself enough to know when to push and when to rest. And that trust doesn't come from ignoring your needs. It comes from honouring them. Let's think about it. If you had a friend who constantly ignored their own boundaries, who said yes when they meant no, who pushed through exhaustion just to prove that they could, you'd be worried about them, right? You'd tell them to slow down, to take care of themselves. So why don't we extend that same compassion to ourselves? Me personally, I think we're scared. We're scared that if we give ourselves permission to rest, to have fun, to do the things just because they bring us joy, we're going to lose our edge and fall behind the rest of the Instagram troupe who have it all together. We'll stop being the person we're trying to become, but that's not really how this works. The version of you that's burnt out, resentful, and running on fumes is not your best self. That's not the person who's going to build something meaningful and have others attracted to it. The version of you that knows when to work and when to live is the one that's going to make it. This year, I'm leading myself differently. I'm making decisions where present me is just as happy as future me will be. Because what's the point of sacrificing now for some hypothetical future version of myself who gets to enjoy life? Why can't both versions of me be happy? That's what sustainable should look like, not the constant peaks and crashes, the months of grinding followed by complete burnout where I can't even look at my laptop without a chill going down my spine and warlike flashbacks to the 1 a.m. working. Just consistency, joy, small moments throughout the day that remind me why I'm doing this work, this life in the first place. Self-regulation isn't about control, it's about awareness. It's about noticing when you're running yourself into the ground and having the courage to course correct before you crash. And that takes more strength than just pushing through, because pushing through is the easy part. It's what we've been taught to do our whole lives. We grind, we hustle, we never stop, and that's applauded. You are doing well if you are constantly exhausted. But choosing joy, trusting that taking a day off won't derail everything you've built, that is harder. People are going to question why you aren't consistently burnt out if you're working so hard and you're so successful. Now, I'm not saying you should abandon your goals or stop working hard. I'm saying that rest is part of the work. Joy is part of the process, or at least it should be. And if you can't find moments of lightness along the way, you're digging yourself a big hole you're going to have to climb out of one day. Building something for yourself, whether that's a business, a creative project, or just a life that feels good, it's a marathon effort. And if you can't take care of yourself, you can't run the marathon. I'm building a business, yes, but I'm also building a lifestyle. And I refuse to build something that requires me to be miserable to maintain it. That's not freedom. That is just a different kind of rat race. So I'm focused on the small joys. The morning coffee that actually tastes good because I'm not rushing. The gym workout that begins with a deep stretch and mental check-in. This is what magnetism is for me. It's not forcing or performing for a made-up committee in my head who judge every aspect of my productivity that day. It's being so grounded in who you are and what you're building that everything can then flow from that. So if you're someone who is always hustling, always grinding, always 3 steps ahead of the present moment, I get it, I am too. And it's an incredibly valuable skill when you need to put that hat on and be that structure for yourself, for your work. But I'm also learning that you can't build for yourself a life you love if you're never actually present for it. So this is a reminder, and maybe the sign that you needed. You're allowed to enjoy the process. You're allowed to take breaks. You're allowed to do things just because they make you happy. So go on the trip, take the break, do the thing that has no special significance except for the fact that it makes you feel alive.